I am Rachel Kopczyk, and this is how to apply makeup for video meetings. And I am joined now by Naomi Robles.
Yeah.
Okay. And she is a professional makeup artist and is just an amazing soul and has a huge heart. And she knows so much about doing makeup for TV, makeup for video, everything. And she wanted to work together and give you guys this content and provide her services and expertise to you all as far as everything goes for makeup. So welcome, Naomi. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
I am so glad you're here. So I'm going to brag about you for a second, and then we're going to get into the content of what we're going to tell people about. But you have worked on some of the most confident celebrities like Pitbull, Mario, Lil Wayne. You've worked
Hey,
on campaigns with Dove, Prana Clothing, Gaia TV. Is that right? Gaia?
yeah, yoga.
Adidas, MSNBC, and more. Like, Naomi knows her stuff, so you all are in really good hands.
Thank you. It's been a career. I mean, I've definitely had women and men in my chair for 15 years now, and they all have this common thread that I've realized I can give that, especially during this time in quarantine. I think that there's something there. So I'm excited to share that with you.
Oh my gosh, yes. And then tell everybody really quickly, like your short version of the story of how you got into makeup and what you do.
Yeah, so I got into makeup at a really young age of 15, and it was a creative outlet for me.
Mhm.
It was a way to just explore artistically, and I'm really lucky that it became my career and my passion. So, yeah.
And now it is.
Yeah.
And makeup, we've talked a lot. We've had a lot of conversations,
Yeah.
and makeup is definitely an important tool for men and for women
Yeah.
that can help you feel more confident on video, on TV, on camera, in real life, whether it's on a video screen or not. And there's a lot of people out there who maybe wear a ton of makeup. Uh, as sort of like a mask to help hide some of maybe the insecurities or the lack of confidence. And then there's the flip side of it, where there are people who don't wear any makeup at all and are totally lost and don't know where to start. And they're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we're in this video world now where I have to be on camera and I'm at home and I just want to wear my pajamas, but like I have to see my coworkers on video. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So seeing that you have so much experience in doing this, what's the first sort of, where's the starting point? Where do we start? You have people come sit in your chair, Naomi, and they're barefaced, very vulnerable, and what do you start with? What's the first question you ask people before you even put makeup on or recommend any sort of makeup tip?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I think, like with anything, there's two extremes, and it doesn't matter where you are in those extremes. They're not there should be a balance, right? Like whether it's extreme with a lot of makeup or extreme with not a lot of makeup, the starting point is actually the conversation we have with ourselves in the mirror. Like that first thing you say to yourself, it's asking, what is it that you love most about yourself? Like, what feature can I focus on that you're like, oh, that's mine. I own this and I love this about me. And that's my starting point. And I think that question gets lost sometimes in the starting point of makeup. If we get at the chance to like go there, you give yourself the permission to really explore and let go in a way. And there's not like that constraint to makeup being the answer, because makeup it's not the answer to feeling more confident or feeling more sexy or feel the emotion attached to it. That the starting point actually is the conversation I have with my client, or that client has with themselves the moment they sit in front of the mirror with no makeup, nothing on. Like that should be the first question.
And that's sometimes the hardest question is that we don't even know half the time that when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we don't maybe out loud say, God, I hate my big nose, or God, I look so old, or whatever that negative, there's often a negative thought associated with some of the things we say to ourselves in our mind. And that's a hard thing to do, but I want to encourage everybody to really, I mean, we're in a time and a place of reflection where we are, forced to go inside literally as far as not being able to go outside. But this is the time to take a minute and go like, observe your thoughts. Like, what am I saying to myself in the mirror when I look at it? Am I going, God, I look tired, or damn, I look good, or like, what would you say to encourage people to take that courageous step and actually observe what we're saying to ourselves in the mirror?
Yeah, it's funny. It's taken me years to actually understand this. And once you understand that makeup is an emotion, you can then move a little bit more fluid in that space. When you feel that emotion, you can almost use makeup as a tool to help enhance that. And for everyone, there's a different layer and there's a different story and there's a different starting point. But when you think of makeup as that underlayer again of the emotion, then you can move through it and play because makeup does have technique. There is technique to video makeup, or there is technique to outdoor makeup or what have you. But if you can still connect with the emotional piece, you then move forward differently, I think, because then it doesn't have to be that mask or whatever that superficial thing is that you want makeup to do. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes, that makes total sense. So give me an example of what you would say to somebody. Like, let's role play for a second.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to sit in your chair. I have no makeup on. And you're like, what do you want to do, Rachel? And I'm like, oh, Naomi, I just I look so tired. Like,
okay.
How would you respond to me, and what would you say to get my negative thought flipped into a positive?
Oh, girl, we could just go for, how much time you got?
We got all the time. We're in quarantine, baby.
I would start with asking you, okay, so how do you want to feel? If you feel tired, how do you want to feel? And a lot of times I think that a woman would then be able, that's a good switch for us. It's like, oh, well, if I feel tired, but how do I want to feel? It's like, it's switch. And then I would ask you from there, I'd ask you, what feature do you love the most about yourself? Because it makes your mind kind of, again, change gear. And every day that feature could be different. It's not every day that I'm like, oh, I'm feeling my skin today, or I'm feeling my eyes, or my lips are really dry, so I'm not feeling my lips today. So every day you're going to feel something different. So for me, I would ask you, what are you feeling today? Like, what feature do you love?
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. And I think that's some great advice that everybody can apply to themselves when they are going like, oh my gosh, the kids at home, it's crazy. I haven't slept. I have this work video meeting. What am I going to do? Oh, I just look so horrible. I look my age. I look so old. And to go, but wait. That's just darkness. That's negativity. Let's think about like, we're alive. We don't have the virus. Like, my skin looks like bomb today, so I'm gonna just show that off or whatever.
Yeah, and then when you give yourself the permission to play and say, this is what I love, my skin. Okay, how can that's a starting point in makeup, because I think that sometimes as women we can get overwhelmed with all of the things that we feel like we have to do. So you feel like, oh, well then I'm not even going to put the effort in that space, or I don't know how to do that. But if you can find that starting point and then play in that starting point and give yourself the permission to then ask yourself, well, if I'm going to play here, how can I explore new colors? How can I explore new tricks? How can I just, allow that to be the focus feature, and then everything else almost like is less is more, right? Because if it's my eyes and I've played with my eyes, then everything else is going to take a back seat, and it's just more chill from there.
Yes, I love that. Tell me a little bit more of like how we can play, and especially right now. Give us some more examples, like in the video meeting setting. Let's say, so we've created our starting point, which is we pick the one thing we love and the feature we want to focus. So let's go with the eyes example.
Okay.
So let's say we love our eyes and we have 5 minutes before the video meeting. How do we play and enhance that and make that look good?
Ooh, and then that's where all the questions, exactly, that's perfect. For me, it's a matter of playing with that feeling and connecting again with that feeling, and how do I want to feel? If you're not in a place that wants to explore color because that feels a different way, then maybe it's like, I want my lashes and my eyes to be more opened because I want to feel like more, less is more. So how can I do that? Curl your lashes, apply an extra coat of mascara. Like, it's those little details in makeup that I think we can forget the purpose and the intention behind it. And when you do it with intention and purpose, then you're just more chill. It's like,
That's brilliant, to connect the feeling, like you're saying. Makeup is connected to emotion. So if you're like, I love my eyes, you're gonna exude that then when you're on video or on camera.
Yep, exactly. And then you asked me about what we could do to play in that space.
Yeah.
I would say in quarantine, this is the perfect time to let go and give yourself the permission to have that creative outlet before you go to bed, or with that glass of wine, or with some good music in the background, and play with that purple eyeliner that you never touch, but you have it in your bag, or that dark color in your palette that you're like, how can I even use this? This is the time to just explore that, because it comes off. Like, that's one thing. Makeup isn't a tattoo, because I don't have a tattoo because I'm scared of commitment, right? Like, I can't commit to it. So that's the fun thing with makeup, is it just comes off. And so give yourself the permission to go there and play with it. Practice. Yeah.
You'll definitely shock your coworkers if you really play and rock that purple eyeliner and own it.
Yes!
Do it.
Yes!
Be it. We don't want to be on all these video meetings anyways. So make it exciting. Wear an amazing outfit. Make it a fun moment to play. Like Naomi's saying, there's something to it. We've got to find these small ways to do that. And we can do that so accessibly with the stuff that's already in our makeup bag. Yes. So Naomi, tell us a little bit more about what are your guidelines, thoughts, rules around makeup for TV or makeup for video meetings? What are the sort of basic things that people need to know right now?
Okay, I think that's great. I think one of the basic things that someone can know right now for meetings is doing what you feel comfortable in, and that's, again, finding that focus feature that you love, and by focusing there and exploring there, that allows you to be in front of the camera with more confidence. Powder, as far as skin powder for video, is definitely going to be right down the center of the T-zone. These are all technical things. These are all moments that I think there's so much access to this kind of information. Where I'm coming from usually is the conversation we have with ourselves. That is prior to the makeup technique. And I think there's so much to unpack there, that the technical aspect, it's always a less is more. That stuff to me comes a little bit easier, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
For sure. Oh no, that for sure makes sense, because like we talked about from the beginning, makeup can be used as a way to, you follow this tutorial online and you think this is how you have to look, but you still don't feel good in your skin, and you don't feel good in that makeup. Yes. And you want to feel good in your makeup, or however whatever you need to do to feel confident and good on that video, on that web meeting, that's what you should do. But there's some other like practical questions that you can ask, right? Like when you're getting ready to go on a video or go live on Instagram or whatever it is, right? Like you need to ask yourself, okay, well, how do I want people, like what's going on around me, right? Like take us through some of those questions that we should consider when it comes to navigating our environment.
Yeah. Okay. So like logistical questions I always ask is like, where's the location? Where are you going to be shooting? Like you have to actually take that in for a second. Is it outdoors? Is it going to be with not a lot of natural lighting? What am I wearing? What am I speaking about? What's the message that I'm going to be presenting? And through all of those kinds of technical questions, makeup will then be able to enhance that story. And it's hard to say specifically, this is exactly what you need, because everyone's space is different, right? Like it is so situational. It's almost like a personal trainer. If you went to a personal trainer, they'd have to do a consultation with you and ask, where's your starting point, and then go from there. So I think that it's a matter of asking yourself those questions that can allow you to then go with more technical in makeup, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. So you ask yourself sort of like, just to kind of keep this all fluid to recap, it's like you ask yourself, how do I look at myself in the mirror? What's the story I say to myself? What's the feature I want to highlight? And then take that feature and then incorporate that into the location. Where am I? What am I doing? Is this a work video meeting? Is this for something else? That kind of thing, right?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it is that simple. That's what's so funny. It's that it is that simple. And it's just breaking it down. And a lot of times the makeup for camera is with this HD and with the ability to have a filter. There's so many things that we can allow technology to just say, okay, you can help me with this. But
So we'll take the sort of like, once we figure out what we want to feature, what's our surroundings, and then that's when we can go, okay, either let me send Naomi a DM and be like, Naomi, I did the steps. I want to focus on my eyes. I'm going to be inside. And that's when you can say like, okay, well, what shape are your eyes? Like what kind of tools are in your kit? And then that's when you sort of figure out the, what colors are you going to use? How do you make your eyes more open? How do you, curl your lashes or whatever the step might be, right?
Yeah, perfect. Yes, that's exactly it. Everyone, like you said, it's figuring out where you are and then going from there.
And then going from there. Yes, I love it. Because knowing who you are first is then what's going to help you to figure out what you want to say on video, on that meeting, and having that inner confidence and the inner positive thoughts about like, okay, I've decided I love my cheekbones. They are bomb, and I'm going to just like highlight them and blush them up, and I am going to feel myself then when I go on that video meeting.
Yes, yes, you're creating that mood. You're creating that story. And over the past 15 years, having people in my chair, men and women, at the end of the day as a makeup artist, you're really just helping them feel like themselves, helping them remember that they can do it. You're encouraging them that they are prepared to be where they are right now, and that people need to hear what they have to say. And like, as a makeup artist, you're also, you're just listening and you're encouraging. And so like that through line and that thing that I was explaining in the beginning, it is a matter of just taking yourself out of or getting rid of all that doubt or that fear, and then who they are when they leave the chair isn't because of the makeup itself. It is because of the conversation we had while they were in the chair. If that was, what they needed at that time. And I mean, I've had people in chairs from like the mall to on set for a commercial to a celebrity, and that's all, that through line is the same in pulling that out.
Yes, asking the question, like, how do you want to feel today? And we get to choose how we want to feel. Like, we can wake up on the wrong side of the bed and then like be like, you know what? I don't have to feel that way. Or you know what? Maybe we do want to feel that grumpy way and we need to be grumpy and mad for a day. But
and
like,
then I want to put a smoky eye on, and I just want to smudge it and make it more real on the bottom. And I just want the intensity in my eyes because I'm just feeling so intense. And like, that could just be my expression. And if you own that, then like, you're wearing a different kind of smoky eye. That isn't the same smoky eye that you get overwhelmed with. That isn't the smoky eye that came with a million steps on YouTube. That's the smoky eye that came with like feeling it. And that to me that's the makeup moment that I think if you can like own it, it's like, damn. Yes. So good.
This is what makeup is really all about, and not just, you know, these tutorials that are online. They're great and they can help you learn and inspire you and give you some technique on how to do all this. And that's something, you know, we'll talk about in a minute, about how we'll get to some technique. But I wanted to ask you, like, what would be one sort of makeup application that everybody should really use, like if they have no time really and they need to get on a video meeting? Is there like one thing you would recommend? Like, yeah, we have to think about how we want to feel and what we want to feature, but like, should we just like throw on a little concealer and powder under our eyes and call it a day? Should we skip that and just put some blush on, or put on a lip for women, and like maybe even for men? Do you have any thoughts?
Ooh, okay. And I know I feel like I don't want to be repeating myself, but everyone's space and focus feature is different. And then that's why it's so hard to give it a concrete, this is what you do, because if I focus on the thing that I know I love, that's where I would spend my 5 minutes. I wouldn't spend my 5 minutes on trying to make it all make sense. I would spend my 5 minutes on the thing that the story I want to create would be in the eyes, or in the glowy skin, or in a lip moment. That's where I would focus, because then everything else takes that back seat and allows you to like not worry about it. If I have 5 minutes, for me personally, I would focus on my skin. I would focus on creating a glow in my skin, and in that it just doesn't look like I'm wearing anything. That's a technique. But once you explore that focus, once you figure out what that focus feature is for you, you can then explore how to master that technique on your own time and practice that, so that when you have those 5 minutes, you're like, oh, I have mastered this trick, or I know how I feel good in this space. And then it'll come quick. But like, yeah, when you only have 5 minutes, go to the thing that you feel most confident about, because then you'll be able to show up in a way that you're like, oh, I feel good. And you don't get overwhelmed. You won't be like, I only have 5 minutes, I have to do all of these things, or I'm just not going to do it, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. And then that's what happens. The overwhelm sets in. And I think what you said is spot on, and that it's about just like taking a beat. Like, we have to just take that beat and
Ooh, I love that. Take a beat. You can only go as fast as the slowest part of you, right? So like, if the slowest part of you is like, you know, I don't know, like, oh yeah, you can only go that fast. So yes, take a beat. Girl, that was a mic drop moment.
I love you. You're so much fun. Yes, you've got to take a beat and go like, okay, wait, I have 5 minutes. Let's actually just take a non-judgmental look at how I look in the mirror and go, okay, what's just happening on the surface? What is going to make me feel better? And do that. If that's just running a comb through your hair, do that, right? If it's making your skin look fresh and clean and doing it, even if it's just washing your face,
Mm,
like
mm,
do that, because
yes.
you're going to do whatever it is, right? It can be as simple as that. And it can be as full-fledged as like a Kardashian face,
Mhm, mhm,
right? There's a
mhm.
whole range of things. Yeah.
I agree.
I think we really covered a lot. Is there any other advice you want to share?
When we get the makeup book as young women, or whenever it is that you start to explore that makeup book, you just want to start at chapter 1. But this part is starting like in that, do you ever read the
Like,
introduction part of a book? I mean, I don't know about you, but I skipped that. And but if you can just like start in the very, very beginning and
mhm.
understand that, then the next couple chapters make way more sense.
And it's true. It's all
Yeah.
about a feeling and making ourselves feel good with makeup. And you know, there's a lot to be said about good lighting.
Ooh, yeah.
So, especially in the video meeting situation
Mhm.
where bad lighting, no matter what kind of makeup you put on, you're gonna look like hell. I mean, you're gonna just look horrible. If you have
Yeah.
overhead lighting, it's gonna cast shadows. There's like a lot to it. And these things really do matter when it comes to video meetings, because even on a subconscious level, we're observing how people look and our brain is processing it. So like if you're sitting in a dark corner and your camera angle's all janky and you've got dark shadows, you're going to appear to me, even though I know you're not, as like a dark, untrustworthy sort of person hiding in the shadows. And
Mm.
you might get forgotten. You might not be seen. And like we need to be seen now more than ever, especially as people are working to keep their jobs and just all these things. And that's why being bright, light, having the right camera angle, it makes a really big difference. And
Yeah.
it's going to have a lasting effect, that people think, oh, that's silly, I don't have to do that. But I would say otherwise.
I think natural lighting is any man's, any person's best friend. If
Mhm.
you can get that video call in front of, outdoor lighting
Mhm.
situation, whether it is cloudy outside or sunny outside, it's a game changer. And it probably will change the way you feel as well, because you're just getting that natural light. So one
Yes.
100%, I recommend always doing even your makeup in the most amount of natural light as possible.
That is such a huge thing as well. Yeah, being in the natural light, because it looks like we've all had that moment,
Oh, this
ladies.
moment where you're just
Yeah.
like, what did I
Oh
do?
no. Yes. You're like, what is this line? What is
Yeah.
happening? Oh,
Yeah. I
not.
mean, you go through it. It's real. That's real life.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. All right, well, let me recap. Let me put a nice little bow on this. So, and then feel free to add anything else, Naomi, that comes to mind as I go through this. But the first step when it comes to how to apply makeup for video meetings, for anything, is you have to start with the conversation you have with yourself in the mirror every morning, and then focus on what you love most about yourself, what feature and what you want to highlight. And that is what you focus on, and the feeling you want to have for that day. And you can own that feeling of like, I am pissed off today, and I'm gonna, just like Naomi said, I'm gonna make that smoky dark, like a beautiful
Just
eye.
grungy. Yeah.
Or if you're like, you know what, damn it, I need to feel like I am a glamorous queen, what should I do? Like, you cat eye that eye, you put on that red lip, like, what do we do?
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny, right? Because for me, I think everyone's story of where glamour is even could be so different. Like for
Mm.
someone, it's a red lip, but for somebody else, it could just be that winged eyeliner. And it is really fun to figure out where you are and where everyone is in that space. I do think that everyone just wants to feel beautiful. I want to
Mhm.
feel beautiful. I want to feel like me. And beauty is when you own who you are and when you own that conversation with yourself, it everything else is easy. And so like makeup isn't beauty. Makeup can just help move that story and help create that, right? Because that's to me what beauty is, and that's what I'm always trying to explore with everyone I get to work with, and then we can play from there. So
It's true, because it emanates from yourself when you
mhm.
feel confident, happy, good, whatever that feeling is, whatever that emotion is, it comes out no matter how much or how little makeup we're wearing.
Exactly.
It
Exactly. It
doesn't
does.
matter. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And that's why it's so fun to like then play, because it's like, I don't know about you, but when I get my nails done, I kind of like just, I don't know, I'll like play a little more with my nails. Or if I'm wearing heels, my back will
Mhm.
automatically, yes, you just
Mhm.
kind of sit up a little. Everyone has to, or if you don't like heels, maybe you go like this because it's just not your thing. So it's figuring out what it is for you. And when you do that, it doesn't matter what anybody else says or anything. You own the room because you own who you are, and that's the power that I think makeup gets to play a role in.
That we're going to end on that note, because that was so beautifully put. And you totally nailed it on the head. And the thing I want to just remind everybody is like, take the time, have that tough conversation with yourself in the mirror, observe your thoughts. What are you saying about yourself when you talk about, when you see yourself in the mirror, and just flip that thought, flip that thinking. How do you want to feel? How do you want others to see you? What emotion are you going to choose to put out today into the world? And it can be whatever it is, and own that beauty, like Naomi said.
This was fun. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you, Naomi. Naomi, tell everybody your handle on Instagram where they can find you
Of
and follow
course.
you and ask you makeup artist questions.
Yeah, so my Instagram handle is at Beyond the Literal, and you can ask me anything there.
Yes, and I am Rachel Kopczyk at The Lady on TV, and we are here for you. Everyone have a wonderful evening, day, night, whenever you are watching this. Thanks for joining us.